Hello, welcome to my channel, 100 Days with Kajo. Today is day 13 of building our personal constitution, and we are on the last grounding article, number 10, practicing self-love. Our last grounding article, number 9, was self-worth, and I believe self-love and self-worth are very closely tied. I also believe that self-worth is actually the byproduct of self-love, so it's super important for us to ensure that we are practicing self-love in our day-to-day life. While self-worth focuses on identity and respect, self-love focuses on caring and nurturing yourself with compassion and patience. Almost forgot about that. That's something that I'm working on. The first thing I want you to do is to think back to our grounding articles 2 through 8, where we talk about our emotions and how we address it and how we treat ourselves and what ways we will cultivate it to have better relationships, interactions with sadness, with anger, with guilt, with joy. So take all that and ask yourself, how will you show yourself care and nurture, or nurturing, however you want to put it. I know throughout the grounding articles, I talked about going on walks, practicing EFT tapping, where I find where I feel my emotion in my body and I talk myself through it instead of feeling guilty for having a negative emotion or a bad emotion. It's a form of self-soothing and self-love. And you know, if you're someone that loves physical contact, this is a way you give yourself physical contact. And one of the reasons why EFT tapping is honestly one of my favorite things is because it takes us back to our most primitive and most pure version of ourselves when we're babies. When babies cry, sometimes they cry for good reason or for no reason at all. They just know that they're not happy and they want to yell and they want to scream and they want to cry. And honestly, I get it. That's how I want to scream and cry sometimes. And instead of telling babies, oh, well, you need to push down those emotions, you need to go sit in the corner, what do? We pat their backs. We give them little kisses. We tell them it's going to be okay, whether or not they understand what we're saying. But regardless, we are tapping their body. And they may like cough out a lot of emotions and start screaming and crying even more, but it's because we're helping them get it out. And once it's out, they start to slow down and be happy and sleep. And now they are good. We are no different from babies. We need that kind of self-soothing and love and care and patience. And EFT tapping has taught me to give myself that care and nurture and love and patience and not like force myself to like, just get over it. Get out of here. Go sit in that corner. Girl, what are you on? You have work to do. I'm no longer treating myself like that. I am giving myself that space to cry, to be sad, to be my feelings for no good reason or for good reason. Who cares? So if you are struggling with finding ways to show yourself care and love, try EFT tapping. It will force you to be patient and compassionate towards yourself. This then segues to our next question. How will you show yourself compassion and patience? And I touched a little on that when I asked you guys how will you show yourself care and nurturing. In my past videos, I talked about how when I was in college, there was a point in time where I think I knew accounting wasn't really for me anymore, at least in the capacity that I wanted to be, where it's gonna be my full career, all about that, gonna do it for forever, right? And instead of giving myself the space to think about it and to evaluate what would be the next move or how I would figure out what my true passion is, I just stuck through it. And I'm not mad for sticking through it because again, I only had maybe a year left and it just didn't make sense for me to like drop the ball then. And I was like, I worked really hard to get my education, so I might as well leave with something rather than nothing. But the point where we left practical into pretty much self-torturing was when I was studying for the CPA exam. I was in my graduate program studying accounting as well. I was working part-time. I was doing so much all at once, trying to force and trick my brain into believing that my gut feeling was wrong, that I do actually like this. It's just because things are hard. This is a passion of mine, which it still kind of is, but not to the extent that it used to be. I was trying to force it on myself by being busy and like grinding it through and being like, okay, well, if I get everything done this year, then I won't have time to ruminate on it and like cry about it and be back and forth on it. That was harmful to me. I wasn't sticking through all of that because I thought it was worth it. I was sticking through all of that because there was a part of me that believed I needed to be punished for my past decisions. Like, who told you to go into accounting if you were to later find out that you don't like it as much? I was punishing myself for picking that major and for coming this far and to only now start feeling it. I was punishing myself for not knowing that this is not something that I wanted to do my freshman year before I went to college. I was punishing myself for a number of reasons. Nothing about that was compassionate to who I am now. I needed to take the time to reassure myself and to let myself know that it is okay to change my mind. You know, like if a friend came to me and said, you know what, like I thought I wanted to do something, but I'm going to do a 180 and try to figure this out. Would I bash them for it? No. Would I really ridicule them for it? No. Would I make them doubt themselves? No. I would be supportive to them and say like, you know what, I think this is the best decision for you. I had to learn to be that patient and compassionate to myself. And when I was finally able to do it, then I had a stronger sense of self-love, which then fostered into my self-worth. Because during that time, my confidence and self-esteem was low because I was punishing myself for past decisions that I made, and there was no reason for me to do that. And it's kind of funny because it's like, okay, well, you're an accountant, and again, or was, who knows, maybe in the future I'll change that, who knows, but it's like you're an accountant. It's a sunk cost. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. You're not gonna you shouldn't stick through something just because you've been doing it for so long. It's okay to change your mind. And that's what I needed to just hound in over and over for months. It took me, let's say, like 2.5, 3 years to really get that in. And majority of that time, I was denying myself that space to make that decision or to trust myself that changing my mind was okay. Most of that time was me trying to convince myself to keep going, that, oh, it was just that classes are hard, or like, yes, like things can be difficult at times. And I always tell myself, you have to pick your difficult. Everything in life is difficult. I'm like, yes, everything in life can be difficult, but it shouldn't be that emotionally taxing, that spiritually taxing to where it just breaks me down and make me question all the time, am I going the right direction? Feeling that I'm falling behind, even though I was achieving so much. During those 2-3 years of me trying to get out of that funk, I kept feeling like I was behind, like I just said. And I came back home, I'm living with my parents again. Of course, I'm in graduate school, and I'm seeing friends moving out or traveling, or some are about to get married, and it felt like, oh my goodness, like everyone is moving past this part of life of what they want to do and are finally stepping into like, okay, doing it and expanding more. And it felt like I was behind. And again, you shouldn't compare yourself to others, but sometimes you can't help it. And my mind went into this space of saying, well, you're always going to be stuck here. You're always going to be wondering what you want to do. You always are not going to know what's next. Like you thought you knew before, but guess what? You don't. So I was just constantly in that circle, swirling. It was very, very stressful. Sometimes our minds will trick us to believe that what has been the case will forever be the case, when that is far from the case. I had to trust that whatever decision that I was making, I was going to be successful. Whatever decision I was making, I was going to be happy, because every decision up until this point has done me nothing but wonderful things, and I needed to reinstill that self-trust. And as I mentioned before in our grounding article about gut and intuition, you trust the people that you love. You love the people that you trust. And I needed to build that trust within me for me to finally be able to say, like, yes, I truly do love myself. I had to remind myself, just because I had been in my head for the past year, 2 years, 3 years, and trying to decide that it's not always going to be like that. Maybe that was just the end of it. And now I'm entering a new era in my life where things will just work out even more. And the only reasons it weren't working out was because I was pushing and not showing myself compassion and doubting myself and not trusting my gut. It all comes together. All of it comes together. A little FYI, I am creating a personalized affirmation app. And if you haven't done so already, go to my description box, join our emailing listing if you're interested for when it comes out, and to answer my survey so I understand what your needs are. Thank you. I love you. And let's continue with the rest of the video. The last thing I want you to do is list down ways you will practice self-love. Again, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but journaling, walking, EFT tapping, spending time with friends and family. Sometimes I love to scrapbook or do embroidery or draw and paint, even if it's not that good. And in conjunction to how you will practice self-love, I want you to list down every reason why you deserve to love yourself. Same way we list down every reason why you're worthy. And sometimes it can overlap, but write as much as you can. If you're having a lot of trouble writing that down, then that tells you that you need to really take the time to think about this, to work through it, to, I don't want to say like read books on it, but like I'm sure that there are resources out there that can help you cultivate that self-love more than what I could do for you. It's on you to do that. No one else can force you to love yourself. And don't believe that because you may not love yourself to a level that you want to love yourself, that you can't continue with the rest of this series of building your personal constitution. Sometimes you just need to build those boundaries, to build those standards, to see the type of life and relationships that you want, to be able to understand how deeply worthy you are of your self-love. If you want to instill confidence and reassurance in yourself while creating your personal constitution, follow my channel of Firmly Active Affirmations, where you'll find affirmation, ETF tapping, and guided yoga, as well as my other channel of Firmly Sounds, where you'll find soundscapes such as brown noise, white noise, rain sounds, TV static, and so much more. Thank you for watching my channel. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.